Silent screams. In the remote, windswept town of Raven's End, an eerie silence pervaded, broken only by the occasional howl of the wind. The town, once bustling and lively, had fallen into a state of desolation after a series of unexplained disappearances. The local folk whispered of cursed lands and vengeful spirits, but none knew the truth behind the silent screams that haunted their dreams. Amelia, a curious and headstrong journalist from the city, arrived in Raven's End, drawn by the mystery and the desperate pleas for help from the town's remaining residents. Her skepticism of the supernatural led her to believe there was a rational explanation, and she was determined to uncover it. Her investigations led her to the abandoned Blackwood Asylum on the outskirts of town. The once revered institution had been shuttered years ago after a scandalous tragedy that saw the mysterious death of its head psychiatrist, Dr. Jonathan Blackwood. Since then, the asylum stood as a monolith of fear and sorrow, its decaying walls rumored to be haunted by the patients who once resided there. Armed with her recorder and camera, Amelia ventured into the asylum during the dead of night, the time when the silent screams were said to be the most potent. The air inside was thick with dust and decay, the silence oppressive. As she explored the dilapidated halls and abandoned rooms, she could almost feel the weight of unseen eyes upon her. Her journey through the asylum led her to Dr. Blackwood's private office, where she discovered a hidden trove of patient records and personal notes. As she sifted through the documents, a chilling story began to unfold. Dr. Blackwood had been experimenting on his patients, driven by a mad obsession to cure madness itself. His methods were inhumane, leaving his subjects trapped in a perpetual state of silent terror, unable to scream or speak of their torment. The more Amelia read, the more she felt a creeping dread. It was then that the silence of the asylum was shattered by a faint, almost imperceptible sob. Following the sound, she came upon the remnants of the isolation wards. The air grew colder, the atmosphere heavier with the unseen anguish of those who had suffered there. In the heart of the ward, she found an old, rusted door that led to the basement. Compelled by a force she couldn't explain, Amelia descended into the darkness. There she found the source of the silent screams, a spectral congregation of the asylum's tormented souls, bound to the mortal plane by their unrelenting pain and Dr. Blackwood's nefarious practices. As she stood there, frozen in horror, the ghostly patients converged on her, their silent screams becoming an unbearable cacophony in her mind. Just as she felt she would be consumed by their pain, Amelia remembered the documents clutched in her hand. In a desperate act, she began reading Dr. Blackwood's notes aloud, revealing his guilt and acknowledging the suffering he had caused. As the truth was spoken, a powerful, otherworldly light filled the basement, the silent screams crescendoing to a deafening roar before dissipating entirely. The spirits, released from their eternal torment, faded into the light, leaving Amelia alone in the silent darkness. She emerged from the asylum as the first light of dawn crept over Raven's End. The town, once shrouded in an oppressive silence, seemed lighter, as if a great weight had been lifted. Amelia's story of the Blackwood Asylum, published in every major newspaper, brought peace to the town and silenced the screams that had haunted it for so long. But the silence in Amelia's own mind never returned. She left Raven's End behind, but the whispers of the past followed her, a constant reminder of the night she faced the silent screams and the souls she had set free.